Welcome to Cosmic Wisdom. Suffering is crucial for our evolvement because it teaches us an important lesson about our lives when we stray from our paths leading to happiness, health and abundance. Nowadays, things can be very hectic and we can easily get caught up in our daily tasks, so we tend to forget about what is most important and what makes sense to us. So we may feel overburdened and struggle to keep up with everything. We are connected with the universal energies through our feelings and emotions, so suffering can come in the form of feeling unwell, tired, stressed, and unable to find a direction out of our situations, so we can feel lost. This means that we need guidance to point us in the right direction. The guidance resides in our minds, as our thoughts to think more proactively and be calmer, and it also resides in our hearts, as our intuition, which is activated when we feel happy. If in any case we cannot control our thoughts and emotions, and also our feelings, suffering may come as a first pointer that we need to find a way out of what is hurting us, but we tend to ignore the first signals. And sooner or later we get into a deeper and prolonged suffering, manifesting on physical level as an illness, and that is usually something which stops us doing what caused us the suffering. We need to understand through realization processes that we need to accept that we suffer. Acceptance is a feeling that resides in your heart, so now you can understand the whole sense of you returning to the origins of your suffering. You are basically accepting the fact that sometime in the past there was a trigger that caused you to start suffering. When you accept your suffering, you literally travel back in time into your past where the suffering happened. And it's still very active because you haven't let go of your past, but by accepting it, you reconnect with your past, and in this way you make positive changes in the present moment, leading to recovery and ultimately finding peace and happiness. That is abundance in any form you can imagine. Suffering is vital for our evolvement into higher and multidimensional beings and is a signal to us of changes happening on very subtle levels. The level of existence we cannot comprehend with our five senses, such as sight, which are linked to our survival. So, when we suffer, we are unable to live life the way we can survive. Therefore, when suffering manifests in its physical form as a result of something that has happened on energetic level in the past, we feel broken because we feel pain. Of course, suffering is painful, and pain is an indicator that we are still alive. If there is something wrong with our bodies and we don't feel pain, it could be a signal that there is no connection between the subtle energies creating our bodies and minds. On physical level, there are sensory receptors in our bodies that detect signals from damaged tissue, and also it can respond to the chemicals released from that damaged tissue. So, feeling pain is vital for our survival, but it has limits. Which is why when we feel mentally strong, with the help of our willpower, we can overcome pain by realizing the processes happening on energetic level in our minds, that we are worthy and that we want to live. This is the kind of realization process that makes us stronger and happier just because of the pain we feel from suffering. This is the reason why suffering can help us to manifest what we feel we want. It connects us closer with our hearts, where our dreams and deepest desires with intuition reside, so we can finally connect with our origins and be able to follow our intuition. It guides us on the right path to find happiness and abundance. Only when we realize and accept suffering that is a vital lesson, indicator showing us that we have gone astray. only then we will understand that suffering leads to enlightenment. Enlightenment is like the flip side of the coin, so both sides are needed to create the whole. Enlightenment is feeling unconditional love instead of hate, feeling abundance instead of shortage, or feeling stronger, healthier and happier instead of feeling weaker, ill and sad. These are the good attributes that make us appreciate life and wouldn't be activated in us without the pains suffering brings into our lives. So a different approach to suffering can help us see it from a different and healthier perspective. Pain is an indicator that we are still alive, that we are able to feel alive fully and enjoy beautiful moments, leading us to enlightenment. So, the most beautiful pain we can experience is feeling unconditional love. Pain acts as a connective tissue or as an indicator of what is holding us back from evolving. When you feel pain, try to take good out of it to help you become more humble and deeper, so that your intuition residing in your heart can be activated and guide you on your journey throughout your life. Intuition can help you realize that things are starting to make sense. When things make sense, you feel connected, you feel alive and free, and you feel like you made it. I am a life coach and a palmist, and when I am dealing with my clients, I speak about pains differently. So as I said, the most beautiful pain is feeling unconditional love, or when you love a person, it is a beautiful feeling too, of course. Love may hurt, but it has very good healing properties for your mind and body. So sometimes it can bring you tremendous pains, making you become a more humble person who appreciates life more. Even negative pains are beneficial because they show us direction, and this is what we want when we are manifesting. We need direction, and intuition is perfect guide to direct us, but only when we have our pains under control by our willpower and know that pain is controlling us. We can see the positive aspect in that moment of suffering, and that is the flip side of the coin. Sometimes emotional pain is worse than physical pain, because when mind suffers, your heart suffers. Physical pain has limits, so it can go only so far, but mental pains can grow exponentially, and only with the strength in your heart can be overcome, and that takes courage. The turning point of suffering, not to be only a pain, but also a guide for us, is in how we are aware of suffering, whether we ignore it or we are able to accept it as it is to be able to move on in our lives. How much conscious we are is how present we can be in a current moment and not to live in the past where the suffering began. Consciousness or awareness can help us let go of guilt, which is a painful feeling, but by accepting what it is, we are able to move on and heal ourselves. This may not make sense to you, but let me explain how I understand why we came to Earth to incarnate, or in other words, to manifest ourselves into physical human beings with souls. Manifestation is not only what you want to attract, but also who you are based on your past experiences. So, one of the reasons is to gain experience and knowledge. For example, imagine an egg. The shell is knowledge and experience is the life inside it. The life inside it wouldn't develop without the shell, which acts as protection. All living things need protection, because if they are fully exposed to external forces in the early stages of development, they wouldn't evolve to the point where they can grow to sustain life on its own and continue their journey on the evolutionary ladder. So the life inside a shell, still in its early stages of development, wouldn't survive, but probably in the last moments of its existence wouldn't feel pains either, because its pain receptors wouldn't be fully developed yet, so on the conscious level it wouldn't understand and feel the pains that hinder developing life from growing and evolving into a fully developed species. The human brain has evolved over so many generations that it has become very sensitive. So when we are shifted slightly out of direction, we feel uncomfortable and then we suffer and feel pains, affecting us negatively on physical and mental level as well. The good news is there is no need for unnecessary suffering if you accept it as a vital lesson. This way suffering, acting as a pain, blockage or hindrance, turns into a guidance showing you ways how to get out of that situation which doesn't fulfill your purpose. How is it showing? Well, through the realization processes, like is to become more acceptable, understanding, forgiving and loving person. All you need is to come to a realization through your consciousness that any pain is good sign that strengthens your mind and body. So you use the negativity as a fuel to ignite a spark in you, which is a hope for a better tomorrows. There is no fire without a spark. So, through the processes of self-realization, you will realize that you are a more worthy and humble individual who has become a more accepting, loving and forgiving person. This is the path we all should be on when we stray from our journeys leading to happiness. Happiness is abundance, and that is excess of good energy creating life. Life as your new opportunities coming to you just because you found a way to detach from pains and suffering by letting go, by accepting and being more loving person. The feeling of unconditional love gives rise to new opportunities, only attracting into your life what you feel. As I always say, be happy to attract happiness. Thank you for watching, guys.